Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Monkey Wrench. I'm Kelly, the monkey with the wrench. I get asked all the time if I work on things other than lawnmowers, jet skis, scooters, that kind of stuff. I cut my teeth 30 years ago building racing Volkswagens for drag strips. And there's not a single car that I've ever taken to someone to work on for me, even flashing computers, things like that. I just don't like doing it. Vehicles take up too much space, they take up too much time, parts are expensive, and the average person doesn't mess with them because of all the computer stuff, and you got to tear an engine halfway apart just to get to a little sensor in the back. You got to take half of everything out from the engine compartment. So I tend not to do it. However, I do occasionally do small jobs for my regular customers. This is a regular customer of mine. If you saw last week's video, this is the gentleman that owns the generator that wouldn't run, and he asked me if I would put brakes on it for him on his truck. So I said okay, and I figured, you know what, it's a different kind of video. I've already taken this one apart, so I'm going to show you how to put the brake pads back in and install it, and then this will be backwards. I'll show you how to take it apart on the other side. Please subscribe. First, take your tire off. Start by loosening the lug nuts before you take the weight off. Otherwise the front wheel will turn and you won't get it off. Then raise it up on the jack. Yes, I'm using the tools around the vehicle to show you don't need anything special. I do have impact wrenches and all that good stuff. I'll do it the easy way for the hardware today. To show you guys that you don't have to buy tools. Make sure that you have a jack stand if possible. Safety forest. With your 1/2-inch socket, make sure you're going the right way, counterclockwise. Bolt on the top, bolt on the bottom. That's all that holds these calipers on. Uh-oh. There we go. Just to hit the button. Now there could be dirt and dust on these bolts. There usually is. They could be kind of stuck on there as well. Hold up. Sometimes your caliper will just pop off, other times you got to pry it off. I usually just use my tire removal tool. Don't push too hard. You don't want to break this part of the frame of the caliper. Just kind of shake it and vibrate it. Should get it out. It's going to be a little bit tight on there. Don't worry, it won't be that tight putting it back on, because we're going to compress the hydraulic cylinder. Come on, baby cakes. Why you want to fuck with me? Try and do it without hurting somebody's vehicle. Scratched it up, but there you go. This, my friends, was his big squealer. I can see it. I've already done the other wheel. And there's zilch left of that pad. Nothing. Complete nothing left on that pad. This is why it was squealing. So, now that that's off, there's where your two bolts went, top and bottom. And all we have left to do is put the new plates in, the new pads, and we have to compress this, and I'll show you a trick for that. Make sure that they're all up in place where they're supposed to be. Let's get the new pads. Make sure they're facing the correct direction. The hard part sometimes is getting these pads to clip in place where they belong. But usually if you tap down and back, you can get it to seat in there correctly. Take the back one off. And there wasn't much left of that one either. The new one's huge compared to the old one. So, we want to get this one in place. That one clipped right in. Now we got our springs. And your springs, when you put these back in, should make an X. The bottom one should point up and the top one should point down, and there's just little holes in the brake pad. You'll see where those springs go in, and what that does is it helps them expand back out when you take your foot off the brake pedal. And that's all they do, is they put tension on those pads and help them expand when you let off the pedal. Now, you have to use a clamp, and you have to push these cylinders all the way back in, or almost all the way back in. You'll figure it out when you're doing it. So what I do is I take an old brake pad and I use that so I can put my clamp, and it'll give it something to hold on to. Try doing one side and then the other. It's not real difficult to make them move once you get them moving. I don't have my regular clamp with me. I don't know where it is. I can't find it. I think I broke it doing something and haven't replaced it yet. So in this case, I'm going to have to move this clamp around a little bit, find the best places to push. Try to use something flat that crosses the entire cylinder. You don't want to just put the clamp actually on the round section, because you'll end up tilting the cylinder and then it won't want to move and you can jam it in there. So I try not to do that. I have done it before and I've had to replace a whole caliper because of it. It's a stupid mistake to make. So just use the old brake pad, and once you get them moving, they should move. There we go. I'm just going to move back to the other side here. Don't be like me. Get yourself a regular C clamp. These wood clamps are long and they're awkward. They do the job, but it's a pain in the butt. They've got a long way to go, so I'm just going to speed this process up for you guys. Now, once you have them in, as long as you don't hit the brake pedal, they will not come back out again. So you have plenty of time to put this back in place where it belongs. I would suggest going all the way in as far as you can without going inside. Make it flush, but don't go inside the cylinder. Make sure that they're pushed back where they belong. Line up your bolts. Sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's a pain in the butt to line up these bolts. Tighten up your bolts, they just go in place. It's really a simple system. The screwdriver is just to get my socket off. You're doing everything and you can't see shit. So it can be a pain in the ass. But other than it being a pain in the ass for a few extra minutes, don't take this thing to a shop and pay $200 for somebody to put brake pads on your truck. That's ridiculous. These particular pads cost 40 bucks. I used a ratchet, a screwdriver, a pair of pliers only because I used a wood clamp and there's nothing to grip on here, and a wood clamp. You can usually use a C-clamp, but I couldn't find mine. So that's it. That's the whole thing. All I got to do now is put the tire back on, lower it down. The minute you start pumping the brakes in there 2 or 3 times, it's going to push those cylinders right back where they're supposed to be on those brake pads. And that's it. There's no bleeding of the system. Don't open the bleeder valve and let fluid out and all that bullshit. Use a clamp, push those cylinders in place, put your pads in, put your caliper back on. That way you didn't put any air in the system and you didn't lose any fluid. It's right back where it's supposed to be, self-adjusting. Let me just go ahead and put this tire back on. And then I'll take this thing for a ride. I'll pump the brakes 2 or 3 times. The pressure will come, it'll be exactly where it's supposed to be. It'll close down on those brake pads. And we're good to go. By the way, I am a avid 2A defender. I have a bit of a gun collection myself. If you guys are interested in seeing videos about my firearms, let me know in the comments. I don't erase comments, not even troll comments. So give me a thumbs down or a thumbs up. It's all the same to YouTube. Leave me a comment, tell me I'm a dumbass. Or leave me a comment, tell me if I've helped you with something. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's hit 10,000 subscribers this month. And that, my friends, will do it. So I'm going to take this thing for a ride. It's just that easy to change brake pads. First day I've sweated in Florida all summer or all winter. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming by. Hit the subscribe button. It's somewhere between my chin and my balls, and I'll see you soon.